Good evening, New Albany Eagle families. My name is Mike Klein, and I am a member of your New Albany Plain Local School District Board of Education. I'm coming to you live tonight from the beautiful campus here on New Albany, and just wanted to give you a brief update on our board meeting last night, which was relatively short by our standards. But we did, as a board and administration, decide not to go on to the ballot this November, and will immediately begin a community engagement over the next year and revisit our strategic plan, which is now 5 years old, and also continue to engage the community on many different levels, whether it be in person, whether it be through some survey work, and just get a real grasp as to how our community wants this district to look moving forward. And I think that's a good thing. So we appreciate any feedback. We will be reaching out in many different ways and look forward to the conversations over the next year. We have said that we will be back on the ballot in November of 2016. We just don't know what that ask will look like. So again, you can always reach out to me to set up a meeting, and we'll certainly, as school gets ready to start here in a few weeks, get ready to engage the community on many different levels and in many different ways. With that said, I did also, the main component of what I wanted to talk to you about was a statement that I read last night at the board meeting, and that involves the Board of Education seats that are up for re-election this November, and I will just spend the remainder of my time reading what I had written and said at last night's board meeting. So I thank President Ryan and my fellow board members John McClellan, Debbie Kalinowski, and Laura Kohler, our treasurer, Ms. Jenkins, and our superintendent, Dr. Domini. So if I may just take a few moments to brief you on what I said. It is with mixed emotions I announce this evening that I will not seek a third term for the New Albany Plain Local School District Board of Education this fall. I do not make this decision lightly or without deep thought and reflection. I value deeply the relationships I have gained over these last 8 years, the people I've had the great honor to work beside, the wonderful students, our great teachers, a first-class administrative team that was always available to answer any question that I had. And I had too many to count over these last 8 years, so thank you to them. Thank you, too, to our amazing staff, from our maintenance people who arrive long before sunrise to the janitors who lock up after midnight most days. A great organization like this takes great and hardworking people. We are fortunate in this community to have the best people who value and set out each day to give our students their best effort. Our students are truly the lucky ones, and for each and every Eagle team member who touches their lives in some way each day, I want to sincerely say thank you. I would also be remiss if I did not say I am honored to have had the great privilege to serve our wonderful community these last 8 years. To be elected twice and given the distinct privilege to oversee the operation of this tremendous school district with 4 other selfless individuals is truly humbling. So thank you to our citizens who entrusted me enough to be a part of this tremendous team these last 8 years, and also to my colleagues. I've met so many kind, compassionate, and passionate people over the years. I have often said that the passion we each have for our schools is a great starting point for any conversation. And though I didn't always agree with an opinion or an email or even your perspective, I always try to give you the time to vent or ask a question. So thank you. Great districts only work with engaged, respectful, and passionate citizens. Though my 2 daughters, Lauren and Maya, are not here this evening, they probably deserve the most thanks. They are the ones who have endured the countless phone calls, interruptions at the grocery store, restaurants, sports events, and community activities. Though I sometimes saw sadness in their eyes because I got stopped one more time, they were always patient and respectful, even when people were yelling at their dad. They deserved more of my time over these last 8 years. And as they start the 8th grade and the sophomore year in high school, I plan on giving way more time to them in the coming months and years. So thank you to the 2 true loves of my life. This is an extremely difficult and time-consuming job. We make $700 a year. Frankly, that is an embarrassing amount of money for what we are expected and required to do. But setting that aside, I jumped into this arena 8 years ago wanting to improve communication and advocate for our students and teachers each and every day. That commitment requires 100% effort each day from my perspective. I set out each day to do what was best for our now nearly 5,000 students. I know I swung and missed a few times, but I tried to give great effort each and every day. I love this district. I love our students and our teachers. They are simply the best. However, this last year has been emotionally and physically exhausting for me because of the difficult and often unpopular decisions we have had to make. John Kennedy once said, "Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan." And those words really ring true when you lose. Or as John Wooden, the great UCLA basketball coach, once said, "If we magnified blessings as much as we magnify disappointments, we would all be much happier." But our losses cannot be allowed to define or deter us. We must forge ahead for our kids each day. Our future as a district and as a community depends on our commitment to our students. We must stop arguing and debating and start doing. The future for our students is too valuable and requires leaders only willing to give 100%. And I cannot promise or give that commitment to 100% for another 4 years. I am committed to giving all that I have these last 5 months of my term because so much work is left to be done. To those that will run this fall, please know and understand the great importance of your potential role. Do not take it lightly and be committed to always putting our students first. Only those that do will have my support. We are not making candles or underwear or beauty supplies. We are shaping children and preparing them to be global citizens who are prepared to lead the next generation. That great responsibility, in my opinion, requires investment. This community must be willing to invest in their students and school district. That will require additional funds, and I promise to continue to help lead that discussion with this community, even when my term ends this December. Though I am leaving the board at the end of this year, I am not leaving our wonderful community. I will be here and continue to volunteer my time and energy, just in a reduced way. I continue to have dreams that I want to pursue and realize too, and I plan to do that in the coming months and years as well. If I didn't end my time here tonight without a sports analogy or story, I believe everyone would probably be disappointed. So I will. Despite the many cuts and reductions we have had to endure this last year, I knew we still had great kids. Kids tend to persevere better than adults on many occasions. So as I was walking our track a few weeks back contemplating many things, I noted the boys cross country team working out on their own. Now summer running is the worst, especially if you are a teenager on summer break and it's 8 a.m. But they had a total team commitment and they were doing their workout nonetheless. As I continued to walk, I saw that most of the team were finishing their laps and moving to the side to cool down and stretch. Some of the younger runners struggled and finished well behind the upperclassmen, but they eventually all finished and were stretching, except for this one young man who was really struggling to finish. You could tell that he was not in the best of shape, and he knew he was the last one, but he forged ahead to finish. That alone brought a smile to my face, knowing how hard it is to be last. Finishing last can be embarrassing, especially as a young kid. I've been that kid. In many ways, I still am that kid. But as I looked at this young Eagle athlete slowly jog the final curve of his final lap and sensed the home stretch, I noted out of the corner of my eye the entire boys cross-country team form a gauntlet on the track to cheer on their struggling teammate as he finished this difficult workout, clapping and cheering his name the last 100 yards. No coaches were present, just kids cheering on an Eagle teammate to finish. The runner not only finished but was greeted with high fives and pats on the back. On this day, he may have been a last place runner, but he was forever surrounded by first-class loyal teammates. In the big picture, does that story really matter? Well, that's up to each individual to ponder. But I think it matters, and it proved to me that in the face of disappointment and struggle, we find hope and loyalty. And again, as the great coach John Wooden said, we can become great in the eyes of others, but we'll never become successful if we compromise our character and show disloyalty toward friends or teammates. The reverse is also true. No individual or team will become great without loyalty. I have great faith we can find the loyalty to continue to be great. Our student athletes can find it even when the adults aren't looking. So I know we as adults have it within us. But just like the student athlete, we all must be willing to sacrifice and finish. Push through the difficulties, knowing the ability to dig deep and finish brings a great sense of commitment to team and community. Finally, I just want to say thank you again. I am and have been humbled and honored to serve. The last 8 years have been simply a fortunate and wonderful experience serving with and for tremendous and selfless students, staff, community members, colleagues, and teachers. I am grateful for the inspiration each has provided to me, my 2 daughters, and our 5,000 students. I want to close with one last quote from Coach Wooden. Profound responsibilities come with teaching and coaching. You can do so much good or harm. It's why I believe that next to parenting, teaching and coaching are the 2 most important professions in the world. We have so many great teachers and students and coaches here in New Albany who do so much good, and for that I am forever grateful. So with a heartfelt feeling of tremendous Eagle pride, I say thank you. Thank you, New Albany. And until the next time, Eagle Pride.